I know, okay? I know, I am awfully late on the Star Wars train, and honestly, whatever, okay? My life's a mess, let's just move on. Star Wars The Last Jedi is written and directed by Rian Johnson, and it's got all your favorite Star Wars characters from The Force Awakens back in this one, including Luke Skywalker, played by Mark Hamill. So just to give you guys some context, I'm actually a pretty big fan of The Force Awakens. I'm not one of those people who are, who absolutely hate it because, oh my god, it's a copycat of Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. Like, I don't really care. I still find myself really enjoying that film. It's miles better than all three of the prequels combined, honestly. With Star Wars The Last Jedi, this movie was pretty damn good. Now, I have heard all kinds of mixed sentiments from all kinds of different people. And when I mean mixed sentiments, I mean you either really love this movie or you absolutely hate this movie and you think it's dog shit. And honestly, I can't see how anybody thinks this movie is dog shit, especially compared to the prequels. I can maybe see why somebody wouldn't think this movie's the greatest or, think this movie, isn't better than The Force Awakens. I happen to not think this film is better than The Force Awakens, but I'll get into that a little bit later. But this movie is nowhere near a bad movie. I mean, if you're looking at this film, taking all aspects of filmmaking into account, this is a good movie. There's just no denying it. If you have certain beefs with the plot or character choices or narrative choices, that's fine. You can have those beefs. But if you're trashing the movie just because of certain plot and narrative choices, you're really not taking all aspects of filmmaking into account. You're just kind of getting butthurt because the movie decided to do something that you're kind of uncomfortable with. But anyway, let's get rid of that tangent. I'll probably revisit that later. But so this is a pretty damn good movie. I mean, by far, my favorite aspect of this film revolved around Kylo Ren and Rey. I mean, their dynamic was dynamite. No pun intended. But it was great. Whenever both Rey and Kylo Ren were on screen, you're so engaged with everything that is happening. You're absolutely sucked into every moment with the conflict between Kylo Ren and Rey. And as far as Luke Skywalker and the way Mark Hamill portrayed an older Luke Skywalker, it's really interesting. He's a very conflicted person. He's not the same Luke that you would imagine from the previous movies. And I think that's one thing that, maybe older Star Wars fans didn't like. They felt that the way that Luke Skywalker's character was handled in this movie, they felt that it was a betrayal of his character. But I mean, he's older. He's much older. He's a much different character who has experienced different things. Why would you expect an older version of a young character to be exactly the same? There's gotta probably be some conflict or some sort of experience in their life that would change them in some sort of way. But going back to Kylo Ren and Rey and the conflicts, the kind of internal moral character conflicts that both of these characters are going through, it's just so thrilling and electrifying. There's never a dull moment with these characters. Never. There is so many memorable moments in this movie. There's so many moments that you're just kind of taken back for a second. You're just like, holy shit, that just happened. And most of these memorable moments do revolve around Kylo Ren and Rey. I mean, don't get me wrong, there is plenty of other memorable moments throughout this film. And that's kind of the thing with Star Wars The Last Jedi. Sorry to go on a tangent really quick, but with The Last Jedi, there is tons of incredibly emotionally memorable moments in this film that are unforgettable. There are a few moments in this movie that are just going to be stapled into the Star Wars saga now. Like they're just going to be remembered forever when you think of Star Wars. And those moments they were totally justified. I loved all of these huge moments. Okay, so there are a few things about this movie that kind of bothered me, and they're really mostly just about narrative and runtime. In The Force Awakens, Poe and Finn were this kind of awesome new dynamic that everybody loved. They were kind of this, fan favorite kind of thing going on. And for that reason, I was expecting this film to kind of flesh out and explore that dynamic between Poe and Finn a little bit more. And this film didn't really do that. This film kind of goes off on a side story, but the side story is Finn and this girl named Rose, this Asian girl named Rose, and she's fine. She did pretty, I have to say, she did pretty well in her role. But the thing is, it's been so much time, trying to flesh out Rose's character and I guess try to flesh out Finn's character, but it was really focusing a lot on this new character, Rose. and it just spends so much time on it. And I felt like it was just kind of derailing from the movie to where, honestly, there was parts in this movie where I did feel bored. I have to be honest, I was kind of bored at parts, and that's not good. With these longer movies, I want to be engaged, for at least 90% of it. But most, there are moments in this film where I was kind of bored. And it's fine, a film has a subplot that it wants to explore, but this film really took a lot of time exploring this with this character, Rose. And I don't know, it wasn't very interesting, and I found, again, I was kind of bored of it, and I just wanted the main conflict between Kylo Ren and Rey and Luke Skywalker and all that stuff. I wanted the film to pay much more attention to that, and instead we have like 20 minutes of extra side fluff that, really didn't do anything for the main plot. It's just kind of there to flesh out extra Star Wars characters that are probably going to come in later in the Star Wars franchise, and I don't know, it kind of dragged the movie back a little bit for me. And, you could have cut all that out. This film was, 2 hours and 33 minutes, I believe. And it felt really long. This movie did feel pretty damn long. And if they would just trim it up, trim up like 20 minutes of this film, this would have been a much more focused film, a much more engaging film throughout its entirety. And I would have been more satisfied with the product that I got. I mean, I am pretty satisfied with it. But, again, I have to honestly say that those things about this movie did bug me a little bit. But again, overall, I think this movie is a pretty damn good movie. Performances are off the charts. Adam Driver as Kylo Ren, outstanding. Daisy Ridley as Rey, brilliant. Mark Hamill back as Luke Skywalker, I thought he was phenomenal as well. So, this film was pretty damn good. I'm definitely happy with the product that I got. I just think this movie just could have been tightened, and, some extra fluff could have just been thrown away. And this movie would have been a lot better in my opinion. But overall, I really liked it. And for that reason, I'm going to give Star Wars The Last Jedi an A-. All right, let's check out the critical reception on Rotten Tomatoes. Let's see what the critics gave. Okay, 92%. I say that's a pretty fair score for this film. An audience score, 53%. Jesus. 53. Oh my God, that is not fair. You know what? Let's see what the first Star Wars prequel, The Phantom Menace, has. Okay, a 55 by critics and oh my God. Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, has a higher audience score than Star Wars The Last Jedi. A movie that has Jar Jar Binks, who is infamously known as one of the worst side characters in film history, has a better audience rating than The Last Jedi?
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again.
Well, thank you very much for checking out what I had to say about Star Wars The Last Jedi. If you really like this review, please give it a thumbs up and share it amongst your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to the Misfit Pawn channel to be updated on more film-related content.